Money is absolutely everything in football, and I know that we all might hate that, but with the constant talk about PSR and transfer fees and everything like that, it's not going away. And that's a shame. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we always have to give up players, because Leeds United have gotten themselves a shock windfall, a significant amount of cash that could be really, really helpful going into this season and planning for the future. And I'll be honest, as we go through this might not be the video that you were necessarily expecting, but stick with me because I think there's some very big lessons that we can learn throughout this. And also, if you're new to the channel or you don't watch my live streams, I'm currently live streaming as I'm recording this. Like, Evie has just written the word Pinocchio in the chat, so if I have a look over here, that would be why. And also, pop in next time. Be great to have you. Anyway, Leeds United have earned a huge sum of money without even having to sell anybody, or at least right now. So, do you remember Max Dean? Max Dean, being a centre forward that played at Leeds United, never quite made his way out of the youth academy and into the first team, and then went to the lower leagues. Went to MK Dons and is sort of hovering around there right now, but he played incredibly well for them and is currently being sold by MK Dons in a 7-figure move. Apparently there's a bit of a bidding war going on there. We have a little bit of a conversation with Toulouse, which I thought was a nice little coincidence. Max Dean, Charlie Crosswell, best friends back together again. I wonder if they've ever actually been friends. I don't know. But there's another club also in that conversation, and that doesn't matter to us because I've not been looking at the other club that's in the conversation, because that's not important to us. What's important is the fact that Leeds United have a 50% sell-on clause for any future fee for Max Dean as he leaves MK Dons, which means there is reportedly around £1 million coming into the club, which is huge. It's an entire month worth of TV revenue in this division, because TV revenue down here is so bad that you need as much money as you can get from other potential sources. And it also, in my opinion, highlights the real importance of the academy, and that is what I'm sort of going to focus this video on, because I think it's hugely important. And in the last week, Leeds United have been announcing deal after deal after deal after deal with academy players and youngsters that have been coming through and signing new contracts and extending their existing contracts and securing their futures at the club. And these have all been for academy graduates, which is completely fine, because that's going to happen. These players are going to come through, and we're going to have to sort of pay attention to them at some point if we want to break through into the first team. But for some reason, it has led to complaints, with people saying, why aren't we signing first team players? Why are we paying attention to these youngsters, etc., etc., etc.? This isn't what will get us promoted this season. But whilst it might not be what gets us promoted this season, it does show a very, very clear economic benefit. Yes, it might not get us promoted this season, but if you look back 4 or 5 seasons, the contract extensions that we signed then could be getting us promoted this season, because of how long-term you need to think when it comes to football academies. Because you think of the ways that we've benefited from our academy. First up, we need to talk about instant sales, and there are 2 candidates here that are immediately obvious to me as reasons it is definitely worth running these academy setups. First of which, Archie Gray. I know it's still a sore spot. I feel like the chat that are live at the moment might be having a little bit of a breakdown at the moment, but he has gone to Tottenham Hotspur, and for 40 million quid, which is a reasonably good deal for us. Decent fee in, fantastic. And the best bit is, came from the academy, so 100% of that money goes down as profit on the balance sheet. The same applies for Calvin Phillips, who we didn't sign from anyone, came through our academy, excelled under Bielsa, and we sold him for £40 million to Man City. It doesn't matter that since then he's had something of a little bit of a drop-off. What matters is that initial sale and the profit gained from it. And then we need to talk about the smaller deals. So in this specific example, I'm going to talk Charlie Crosswell. £3.8 million, a lot of people are saying is not enough, and he should have been playing for the first team and all this sort of stuff. But at the same time, he was a backup championship centre-back with not that many appearances. You're not going to get that much more money out of him. And again, it goes down as 100% pure profit, which is pretty good, and is a sign that academies are definitely worth your while. And you also need to consider the players that you will sign in to the academy. So Pascal Struijk is someone that we signed when he was 17 years old, spent a little bit of time in the 21s, developed whilst he was down there, and grew into the player that he is now. Crescencio Somerville joined us, I think, at maybe the age of 18. I can't remember off the top of my head, but was initially in the under-21s. And you need to consider that there will be a very likely sale of Crescencio Somerville for numbers that are looking like £35 million plus. And that's not to be sniffed at. That is big money. And that's big money that we could really do with if we're in the Championship. All of that has come from having a strong academy and focusing on it and making these signings. And it's not just the instant cash that you get either, it's sell-on clauses. So let's look at the example, Max Dean. We're expected to get £1 million out of him, and he is a player that we've not even had to develop. He went away for, I can't remember the fee, I can't remember if there was a fee, but we've not put any further work into getting Max Dean into that position, and we've still gained £1 million out of someone else's work. That's the importance of having an academy. It's a passive income source for a football club. As much as a lot of these players won't make it into the Leeds United first team, they will still benefit the Leeds United first team. Also, you can look way further back. It's not just short-termism like this, where Dean was a couple of years. Charlie Taylor, I think we still have a 10% sell-on clause for Burnley, which means that if we were to sign him, I think we would get him for 10% less. I'm not 100% sure. Or we'd sign him for the full amount and 10% would come back into the coffers. I don't know. But very clearly you can benefit for a very long time when you're doing deals like this and you're focusing on your academy. And it's not only money and finance and stuff like that, it's first team impact. Calvin Phillips, a big, big part of getting Leeds United promoted. Huge. If we didn't have him in the side, I feel like we struggle hugely. I think at the start of Bielsa's first season, he effectively had a choice of Ronaldo Vieira, Calvin Phillips. Chose Calvin Phillips, and it was the right decision because he got us promoted. He got himself into the England squad. He nearly won the Euros with England. And it's not just the players that have this colossal impact that make a difference either. Jamie Shackleton has been a solid squad player for a very long time now, and he's only just leaving, and it might be on a free, but he has given a hell of a lot of time and effort to Leeds United that you wouldn't get if you had to sign someone in and say, okay, so you're going to be a bench option for the next 7 years. I think a lot of players would come in and go, I don't think I am, actually, and sign for someone else. The importance of an academy player is you get that little emotional connection. You get Jamie Shackleton, who loves playing for Leeds. Whenever he pulls on the shirt, you can tell he gives a shit. And it's not only the players that stay for a long time. Archie Gray is genuinely unlucky to have not been promoted with Leeds United and had some spectacular memories. That goal that he did or didn't score was huge for us against Leicester. And it's the emotional connection combined with the financial stuff and the ability on the pitch that means that these players matter. And ultimately, I can understand disagreements with academy-heavy strategies because, yeah, you're putting wages into players that might not necessarily make it. But A, that doesn't come off your PSR stuff because academy spending doesn't count. And B, there's a very, very clear economic case for it. Clubs profit when they run these as well as they possibly can. But outside that cold-hearted financial approach that you have to take, it also makes you love the club just a little bit more. Because you have that connection to the players. Last season, we all had that connection to Archie. And that felt really good. And we had that connection to Sam Byram. Even though he might not have been what he was initially, that connection was built up. And it makes you care more about the football club and it puts the football club in a better position. So the next time the club tweets out that they are signing a contract extension for an under-18s player, no real need to complain about it. Because at the end of the day, it's done for the club's health down the line. But whilst that is what I think, I also kind of want to know what you guys think, because I know this can be a fairly contentious topic. Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe. You can even become a channel member. All of that revenue that you put towards that will go to Prostate Cancer UK, even the 45, 50, 55% chunk YouTube takes off it, because I'll top it up myself, it's fine. And for every subscriber I get before the start of the season, not the start of the season, before my charity walk that I'm doing at the start of August, I will also put towards Prostate Cancer UK, aiming for 4,000, so it'd be great to have you on board by that point. Either way, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. You know how I sometimes get the comments to say a word? I've specifically asked the live chat to pick a word for this. I think they went with Helen. So, yeah. Put the name Helen down below. If you watch the live streams, you'd understand that reference. Hop over there next time you see me. Ta-ra.